Good evening, Northeast Ohio, and happy Wednesday to you. T-minus 3 days and counting to Christmas. I am Betsy Kling, broadcasting home with Jay Crawford, who's back in the studio. Thank you all so much for tuning in today for What's New.
Yeah, absolutely. Betsy, a very good Wednesday evening to you and to everyone watching at home. We begin at 5 again with our most recent snapshot of how Ohio is faring against COVID-19. And again, it's not a good picture. Let's share some numbers, shall we? For the second straight day, Ohio is reporting a record number of new cases, 12,864 COVID-19 cases reported in the last 24 hours. That is up from yesterday's number, and that was a previous single-day high, 12,502 a day ago. Our number of new hospitalizations down nearly 100 from yesterday's number, but still significant. Nearly 500 new admissions to Ohio hospitals over the last 24 hours. Important to point out, though, the total number of COVID-19 patients in Ohio hospitals went down by 18 as releases outpaced admissions. We now have 4,778 COVID-19 patients in our hospitals. Also interesting to compare where we are today, December 22nd, 2021, to where we were exactly 1 year ago. Today, our number of cases, 12,864. 1 year ago, they were 7,678. As for the positivity rate, look at the difference there. We're at 23.9%. Also, 4 straight days of a positivity rate over 20%. 1 year ago, our positivity rate was only 12.5%. And as for number of patients in Ohio hospitals, it's virtually a wash. We have just 44 fewer patients in Ohio hospitals today than we did 1 year ago, which, by the way, was our peak. Betsy?
Well, as we have through the entire pandemic, we are constantly searching for little glimmers of hope, and we found some. Today, the FDA authorized the first COVID antiviral pill in the U.S. The FDA says Pfizer's Paxlovid can be prescribed for adults and kids 12 and up with mild to moderate COVID symptoms who are at risk of severe disease or hospitalization. However, it stresses it's not a replacement for the vaccine. Now on to your feet at 5. More than 109 million Americans are expected to travel tomorrow through January 2nd. Our Emma Henderson is live with what you need to know to be prepared before you hit the roads or take to the skies. Emma, I'm thinking it's getting pretty busy out there.
Betsy, it's fair to say it's getting busy out here just based off of my experience driving from the station here over to the airport, and we can see these parking lots are filling up. Now, nearly 2 million people went through TSA checkpoints just yesterday. That's on the same level as pre-pandemic travel, so back in 2019. And officials are telling us to be prepared for long waits, delays, and possible cancellations. TSA has an alert out saying COVID has impacted staffing and operations at airports. For example, they need time to change gloves between every person during a security pat-down. So that means adding extra time onto your trip in addition to the time you would normally add for holiday crowds. Also, they warn pilots and flight attendants are being hit by Omicron just like everyone else, which could cause flights to be delayed or canceled more than usual. So check your flight status early and often. And perhaps most importantly, if you don't feel well, don't fly.
If you're feeling sick, bottom line is stay home and until you feel better. And it's everyone's responsibility. It's not one person, it's the entire community's responsibility as well.
That stay at home not only includes when you're flying to your destination, but also when you're traveling back home after the holidays. Now, coming up at 6, I spoke to an infectious disease expert about what we need to know to make our traveling experiences as safe as possible during this holiday rush. Betsy?
I know a lot of folks are kind of white-knuckling right now as we're down to the last few days here before the holiday, hoping that things are just going to be smooth for them. All right, thanks so much, Emma. Jay?
Well, Betsy, now we move on to COVID and the Cleveland Browns. And after a week of chaos, things are gradually beginning to return to some sort of normalcy. The big news today, head coach Kevin Stefanski is COVID clear. He's returned to the team along with 3 other players. Sports anchor Nick Camino joins us now in studio. Nick, that's good news, but they still have some pretty big names that are out.
Yeah, good evening, Jay. Have we recovered from Monday yet? I don't know if I'm there yet.
No.
It's just been a crazy week, a crazy couple of weeks with everything going on with the Browns. But yeah, as you mentioned, the Browns are still missing some key players. Think about Baker Mayfield, even his backup Case Keenum, and then you add to that Jarvis Landry, Kareem Hunt. The Browns still don't have those guys. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Now, saying all that, this is not official or anything like that, but I do think that by Saturday in Green Bay, the Browns will have some of those guys. But as you pointed out, this was great to see today. Kevin Stefanski is going to be back on the sidelines for the Browns. He's off of the COVID-19 list, out of his basement, back on the sidelines. Good news. That had to drive him crazy the other night, having to watch that from afar and not be there with the team. But again, I would hope that Baker and Keenum, some of these guys, will be back by Christmas Day, or it could be more of what we saw on Monday against the Raiders. But we talked to Stefanski today on a Zoom call. He met with the media, and you could just tell he's ready to just get preparations amped up for Saturday's showdown with the Packers at Lambeau Field.
Good to be back. You know, obviously working remotely is something that we all did a bunch of last year, so it's definitely doable to work remotely and game plan remotely, run meetings, et cetera. But good to be back in person.
Well, Jay, great to have the head coach back. I will say this, though. I'm a little bit surprised. And again, you can't predict any of this with COVID-19. We've learned that over the last 2 years. But in saying that, I was just a little surprised that we're at a point where Baker's still not back. His backup isn't back. And, last week when the word came down Monday that it was going to be Nick Mullins, there was a part of me that was pretty surprised, too, that because of those revamped protocols, that those guys were not back off the COVID list. So I'm a little bit surprised by the developments today. Hopefully by tomorrow or Friday, we get some better news.
Yeah, I think you're not alone. We all expected that this would happen a little bit sooner than it has. But it's very interesting, Nick, when you look at how hard the Browns were hit. The Rams, also the Washington football team had some pretty serious COVID losses. But this is going to hit all 32 teams at some point or another. It really is. And right now, Cuyahoga County has the third fastest rate of this new variant spread throughout the United States. So the conventional wisdom here is the Browns have taken their biggest hit.
Yeah.
The other teams out there are still to be hit, and that could be key as the Browns look forward because they've got 3 games left in the regular season, and just today, the Packers lost a key piece to their offense. Receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who is their deep threat. He's the guy that can take the top off opposing defenses. He is positive and in a COVID protocol, so he likely will not play in Saturday's game. At some point, this is going to hit just about every team in the league.
It's a good point. You don't want it to ever hit your team,
No,
but if it's going
you
to, now might be the time. We're also seeing the Chiefs deal with this. Kelsey and Tyreek Hill also, and they've got the Steelers this weekend.
Yeah,
so
2 huge losses for Kansas City. All right, Nick, thanks. We'll see you soon.
Well, as we told you earlier in the week, at-home COVID tests are flying off store shelves. Today, 3 News' Sarah Shookman did some calling around to see where you can find them, and it proved to be a bit of a difficult task. Free rapid tests are wiped out across every county she searched. Walgreens said they won't have stock locally until January. Amazon is shipping its cheapest tests in mid-January. Some CVS locations appeared to have tests in stock, but at least one we visited that had listed them as in stock downtown on East 9th Street, well, they didn't have any of those tests. We bought a test stocked at the Meijer in Avon, where the website listed them as out of stock. Walmart allows you to search their stock as well, but let's say that despite all these efforts in the back and forth, you still can't find a test. What should you do then? Well, that's what we asked the Cleveland Clinic.
If you're determined to get together with family and everybody's been vaccinated and you feel like the risk of severe disease is low, then masking is always helpful. And go outside and enjoy the fresh, brisk winter weather.
Well, those same strategies that we've used in the past holidays are likely to once again be very helpful. But if you think you could be at greater risk or you're experiencing symptoms, even mild ones, it's best to just assume that you're positive. More than 40% of all tests that are coming back at the Cleveland Clinic are positive, and it is a striking difference to the previous 2 weeks. Jay?
Well, Betsy, we knew this was coming, but today it became a reality. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine putting his signature to the sports betting bill, clearing the way now for legalized sports gambling here in the Buckeye State. Mark Namick has been very closely following this story for months now, and he joins us now from the 3 News newsroom. Mark, when you look at this, we were expecting it, but now here's the big question that everybody wants to know. When can they legally place a bet on the Browns, Indians, or Cavs?
Hi, Jay.
Or Guardians, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, that counts too. Don't pull out your wallets or phones just yet. The governor's approval kicks off the rulemaking process that will guide how we gamble. And that's expected to take months and possibly up to a year. Now, everyone is betting. Ohio will be betting on sports by January 2023. And when ready, we'll be able to place those bets on the Browns, the Cavs, and other professional sports teams, as well as college games and even esports. State researchers estimate that this betting will generate around $20 million a year in new tax revenue, most of it earmarked for education. Now, here's a bit about how it will work. Ohio's casinos, racinos, and the sports teams themselves can now apply for a license to partner with a sports betting mobile app. Some bars and restaurants that have the money can apply for a license to offer limited betting on a lottery kiosk. And now this just puts Ohio in the same league as the surrounding states, which have been offering sports betting for years. Jay?
Wow, Mark, just a few short years ago, it was unthinkable that you would have professional sports teams involved in sports gambling. But this has happened quickly, and we are here now. As you said, they can apply for a license.
Well, they wanted their piece of it. That was part of the lobbying that took place for 3 years at the State House. Jay.
Incredible. Mark Namick, thanks. Betsy?
All right, everybody, still to come on What's New. How big a role will humans play in the automation age? We go to a local high school that believes we will all play a substantial role. That's this week's Education Station report. Then Diddy is bringing it back, a fashion staple. We're talking about Sean John. Kira has all the details ahead in Pop Break. And of course, we're keeping a close eye on the forecast too. It definitely was cold today. We stayed right there in the 20s, saw some beautiful snowflakes flying around. All of that now going to be a memory as warmer temperatures start to filter in, but they're going to be a little bit slow to get here. For the evening, if you're headed out and about, maybe taking in some of the beautiful light displays around the area, expect temperatures in the 20s, wind chills in the teens. But we're going to talk about those warmer temperatures and the rain that's moving in for Christmas straight ahead.
robots don't call off and robots don't get sick. But you will need a machine repairman to fix them.
Yes, you will. Bruce Walker, a mechanical technology teacher at Cleveland's John F. Kennedy High School, explaining why he believes humans will have an important role in the continued automation age. And he's not alone in that belief. In this week's education station, Danielle Wiggins goes inside JFK High School to see how a local tech expert is recruiting students to that very field.
Get into it, get into it, get into it.
Pep like a cheerleader.
Today is all about exposure.
Plans like an educator.
You got to get into this technology, y'all.
Tondi Allen isn't a teacher or administrator here at Cleveland's John F. Kennedy High School.
So what you gonna type? Oh, that don't look right. That don't look right.
She's the co-owner of Urban City Codes, a community-based tech training company serving the underrepresented and under-resourced. But today, she's educating hundreds of JFK students about the benefit of pursuing careers in technology.
800 million jobs will be lost by 2030 due to automation.
To grab students' attention, Allen is using this alarming statistic from a 2017 McKinsey Global Institute report on automation's impact on the global workforce. The same organization later found Black U.S. workers are overrepresented in job roles and regions, more likely to see employment declines because of automation.
What is the future of work?
The future of work, robotics, automation, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. So you better get in that lane or you might be left out.
Who in here has ever flown a drone at all?
So right now it is raining and snowing, but the kids are out here really captivated by that drone. It's interesting. The key is, though, turning their interest into a future career.
We have a program with the Minority Tech Alliance that actually assigns them a tech mentor.
Drone rides to the air.
Where we're actually honing them while they're still interested so they can pick a career so then they can start making money right away in technology.
Creating a trajectory where a student can navigate a tech career, landing in the palm of their hand.
Allen tells me after their presentations at JFK, 46 students signed up for their tech programs. They include robotics, coding, cybersecurity, and even a drone cadet flight school, which students can participate in with no financial cost to their families. I've posted more on Allen and Urban City Codes to WKYC.com. Back to you.
All right, Danielle, thanks. That is a very good idea. Well, this academic school year, we have been closely monitoring the reading progress of students at Charles Dickens Elementary School in Cleveland. It's all part of our Education Station program. We've grown to know and to really care for the kids and the educators at Charles Dickens. In fact, so much so, 3 News decided this holiday season we would adopt a few families that had some serious challenges this year. So today, I helped deliver gifts on behalf of all of us here at Channel 3 to 2 Dickens families selected by the principal. And it was just fantastic to see the kids light up as we delivered, and I am not kidding, truckloads of presents. I had a blast today, and I know I saw a lot of smiles on the kids' faces too. Again, I want to emphasize this was a station-wide effort. We had so many folks volunteer and donate to make sure that all of these kids got every item on their wish list. Betsy, it was a joy-filled day. It really was. Filled my heart.
That is so cool.
It was great.
It is, and I'm so glad to see the family that drum set is going to, because I got to tell you, when that drum set was busted out at the station, all of us were very excited to see it, and yes, a few of us even got a chance to try it out a little bit. I have no drumming skills whatsoever. It's just going there. Anyway, temperatures are going to be on the chilly side as we head through the night tonight. We did indeed stay in the 20s through the day today. We're going to stay in the 20s as we get into the overnight hours. We're starting to see the clouds breaking up a little bit, though. We had a gorgeous sunset not too long ago, and that should set us off onto a very cold night. We are still dealing with a few snow flurries and lake effect snow showers. It's all coming in on west-northwesterly breezes. That west-northwest southwesterly breeze, though, will start to turn as we head into the next few days, become more southerly. That's going to help to hold up the temperatures. But it's one of those good, bad things. The breeze helps things stay fresh, but it definitely drives down the feels-like temperatures, which at this hour are currently sitting in the teens in most of northeast Ohio. We are not the only ones dealing with the cold air. Actually, the coldest air is just to our north, just north of the country's border, even into the UP of Michigan. But, you know, here in the Ohio Valley, 20s, low 30s. For this time of the year, that's not terribly far off the mark, and we will stay seasonably cool tomorrow with a high around 40 degrees. Then we turn things around and we start to see the temperatures warming up. We're getting into a very active period here for the next week, as there will be storm systems kind of zipping by, coming our way and then just not really doing a whole lot to us initially. I'll explain coming up. Here's how things are going to go in the big picture forecast as we go through the rest of the evening into the overnight. You can see what's left of these flurries will start to back off a little bit for us. Tomorrow, I think we're just going to go with kind of a variably cloudy start to the day. By the end of the day, though, we'll be watching a little storm system passing by to the north of us for the most part. We may get clipped by a few showers, rain and or snow tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. Then Friday starts dry, but by Friday afternoon and evening, you can kind of see how that rain starts to pick up. Temperatures Friday now pushing into the 50s. We're going to do 50s again for Christmas Day, and there will be a lot of green on the radar. Unfortunately, we are dealing with these rain showers that are going to be coming through, and you can see we stay rather soggy through Christmas Day as well. 40 degrees, a very seasonable high temperature for the day tomorrow. You can see a lot of cloud cover around. We'll have increasing clouds as we head through the afternoon. Here's your Union Home Mortgage forecast. Temperatures jumping into the 50s for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We'll cool it back into the low 40s for Sunday, and then we'll hold on to rain chances kind of coming and going as we head through next week, with temperatures holding in the 40s. We'll be right back.
I do, Al. Hey, we're talking Bill Cosby and his troubled legacy today. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, I do. Hi there. Yeah, sure. Both Dr. Remy and Dr. Grover say the majority of the pediatric cases they're seeing in their hospitals. Okay. Sure, I think I can do that. Let's see. How's that? Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a new docu-series that's spotlighting actor Bill Cosby's legacy. Our Kiera Cotton joins us with what to expect and some other big stories that are happening in the entertainment world. Hi, Kiera.
Hi, Betsy. You know, it's no secret that the life and legacy of Bill Cosby has become muddied over the years. And a new docuseries is exploring his cultural contributions and impact at the height of his disgrace. In his docuseries, We Need to Talk About Cosby, comedian W. Kamau Bell takes an in-depth look at Cosby's revolutionary career and personal descent. Cosby has been accused of rape, drug-facilitated sexual assault, sexual battery, and additional misconduct by more than 60 women. However, he's maintained his innocence.
What do we do about everything we knew about Bill Cosby and what we know now? How do we?
Prior to its Showtime debut, the docuseries will premiere at the 2022 Sundance Film Festival. We Need to Talk About Cosby is set to premiere January 30th. And season 18 of The Bachelorette has come to an end, and for Michelle Young, it was all worth it. Now, here come the spoilers. The 28-year-old Minnesota native said yes to Nate Olakoya. Nate proposed with a haircut diamond ring, and according to a recent interview, the two fall more in love each day. Congratulations to these happy soulmates. And Sean Diddy Combs now has plans to revive an old-fashioned staple. The 52-year-old mogul has regained complete ownership of his streetwear label Sean John, which launched back in 1998. In 2016, Diddy sold his majority stake in the company to Global Brand Group. That same company filed for bankruptcy earlier this year, leaving the door open for Diddy to come back into the picture. In a statement, he said, "I'm ready to reclaim ownership of the brand, build a team of visionary designers and global partners to write the next chapter of Sean John's legacy." Now, after a brief bidding war, Sean John is back in its creator's hand, Betsy, get this, for a little more than $7.5 million.
Not too shabby at all. All right, Kara, thanks for getting us all popped in.
Sure thing.
Up on the next half hour of What's New. With COVID cases on the rise, many parents are asking if their kids should be playing sports or gathering with friends over the holiday break. We're going to share what local docs have to say on that issue. Then there's a push to legalize marijuana in Ohio. How many signatures they need to get to put that on a ballot measure? That's coming up in Clicking in Cleveland. Also, it's the season to be festive. Our Cleveland Bucket List creator is back with some of the most beautiful lights displays we should check out before it's too late.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Caught up with the three things you need to know at 5:30. First, we have good news in the fight against COVID. Today, the FDA authorized the first COVID antiviral pill in the United States. The FDA says Pfizer's Paxlovid can be prescribed for adults and kids 12 and up who are experiencing mild to moderate COVID symptoms and are at risk of severe disease or hospitalization. However, it stresses it's not a replacement for the vaccine. Instead, it could ease the burden on healthcare workers to reduce hospitalizations.
The Biden administration is extending the student loan moratorium that has allowed millions of Americans to put off payments during the pandemic. As of today, federal student loan payments will remain on pause through May 1st. Interest rates will also stay at 0% during this time period, and debt collection efforts have been suspended. These measures were originally expected to expire at the end of January.
And after a horrible week for the Browns, things are slowly beginning to look up. Today, Coach Kevin Stefanski cleared to return to the team. In addition to his return, the Browns also reactivating tight end Austin Hooper, linebacker Jacob Phillips, and kick returner JoJo Natson. More than a dozen players, including Baker Mayfield, Kareem Hunt, and Jarvis Landry, are still on that COVID list. The team is set to play the Packers on Christmas Day. And with that, we welcome you back to the second half hour of What's New. I'm Jay Crawford in the WKYC studios. My partner, Betsy Kling, broadcasting from home. Betsy, here's a little Browns trivia for you. This Saturday's game against the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay will be the first time in team history that the Browns have ever played on Christmas.
Huh. I didn't know that. That's actually kind of interesting because I can remember as a kid when my grandparents came over for the holidays, we were watching football. I sit and watch football with my grandfather, but I know we watched Browns games, but I guess we didn't do that on Christmas Day. We watched somebody else's games.
This is a first. It's history.
It is. Well, hopefully we have a win for our first one. Let's all wish together, certainly. Well, as parents know, we know how important connection is for our kids, and many of them had big plans for winter break. But with the rising COVID numbers, how safe is it for our kids to participate in all these various activities? Well, Lindsay Buckingham spoke with local doctors to find out.
As parents, we've all been here before, wondering if sending our kids to the big game is the right call.
The fear is that when you get lots of kids together that are unvaccinated or people that are vaccinated not masked indoors, they're going to be super spreading events.
Pediatric critical care physician with UH Rainbow Babies, Dr. Kenneth Remy, says to lower the risk at sports games or other activities, this is critical.
I would tell you the most important thing that we can do at this point for children is any child above the age of 5 years old should go through their vaccination.
Then risks go down even more by doing this.
So you're indoors with any group which is not your immediate family, you should always have your mask on.
That includes playing sports with masks on. But Dr. Purva Grover, medical director of Cleveland Clinic's Pediatric ER, says no matter what your child participates in, it's not bulletproof. You're still taking a risk.
And if you're being exposed to them and you know that they are kids on that team or other parents who might not be vaccinated, then it's simply not safe at this point to be around them.
But what about smaller gatherings like play dates or holidays with family members?
I believe that if children are vaccinated, it is very safe for them to interact with one another and be able to have play dates over this Christmas break, still using those same tenets while indoors of wearing a mask.
It goes beyond winter break. With rising cases, both doctors agree masks are here to stay for the next few months.
I would say that it's important at this point, as we leave the holidays in the beginning of January and probably February, to continue to wear masks.
CDC guidelines state that indoors masking is appropriate and probably the safest thing to do. So that is what we should urge our public to do.
And both Dr. Remy and Dr. Grover say the majority of pediatric cases they're seeing in their hospitals are among the unvaccinated. Betsy?
All right, Lindsay, I heard you say in there playing sports with masks on.
Yeah, you did. So basically it comes down to this. If you choose to go to a basketball game where there's a lot of people and you don't know who's vaccinated and who's not, then you are eliminating all the risk by skipping it. But if you do go, being vaccinated is one layer of protection, and also wearing a mask adds another. So it's really about the comfortability you have with taking that risk as parents and with your kids.
Okay, still a lot of decisions to be made. You have to do what makes you feel comfortable and make those decisions as a family and for your family. Speaking of your family, Lindsay, I should just wave to you because Lindsay actually lives right around the corner from me. So we're both coming to you live
Neighbors.
from our homes, which are basically spitting distance apart. All right, thanks a lot. I'll see you soon, hopefully. Jay?
Hey, neighbor.
Well, Bets, we have some new pictures from the Chagrin Popcorn Shop. The Grinch is trying to get away with the popcorn ball, as you can see in this photo, but he's not going to be successful. You see, Jupiter weighs 250 pounds, and according to store employees, it took more than 3 months to put this thing together. Betsy, it's 6 feet in diameter, as you can see, based on that picture right there. It is big enough to contain the equivalent volume of 13,488 3-inch popcorn balls. Jupiter, which I might add is aptly named, is now on display at the popcorn shop. It'll be there through the 30th, and that's when they're going to put it up at the top of the flagpole, where it will be released at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve. It's a Chagrin Falls tradition, obviously. Any money raised by the event goes towards renovations at the Chagrin Falls Township Hall. Pretty cool.
I just love that tradition. Every little town and burg around Northeast Ohio kind of has their own little way of celebrating. And the popcorn shop, the giant ball, is just hysterical.
It is. And I have to say, as a Chagrin Falls resident, I've lived there now for 3 years, I haven't seen this tradition yet. So I'm not for sure that I'm going to go this year, but I would like one of these years, and maybe it is this year, I will pop down there New Year's Eve and watch the popcorn ball drop. Only in Chagrin Falls.
I see what you did there with popping down there.
I know you
played.
did. Yep.
Well played. I'm proud of you.
All right. Well, straight ahead on What's New, our Cleveland Bucket List series is going to continue. Today, Chris Webb is going to show us a couple of must-dos just in time for the season. And there's a grassroots campaign to legalize marijuana here in Ohio. See what I did there, Betsy? Stephanie has the details of a petition that is hoping to land this issue on a ballot very soon.
And about 6.5 minutes ago, at the bottom of the hour break, I was watching our little in-house stream there, and you could see the sunset on the CSU cam. It was even more brilliant 6.5 minutes ago, but it is still really beautiful. We will have variably cloudy skies tonight, but things are starting to look a little soggy for Christmas Day. I have your forecast next. All right, it is 5:39, almost 5:40 on this Wednesday before Christmas. And I mean, it hasn't been that bad today, right? Especially by winter standards. I mean, we are in like the first full day of winter, so temps in the 20s are kind of right on time. Actually, 40 degrees will go down in the books today as our high temperature. That happened very early this morning. Then we settled down into the 20s for the afternoon. But look at the normals for this date, 39 and 27, normal high, normal low. We're going to be very close to that as we start the day tomorrow. Things then start to tick up from there as the forecast continues on. Now, over the next few hours, we're going to kind of hold steady. These partly cloudy skies will be staying with us, but the temperatures are not going to be budging in the upper 20s. We do have some flurries that continue downwind of the lake. A lot of that is happening on the east side as of right now. Very festive flakes, very pretty earlier today as those random snowflakes were coming down, but it doesn't look like it's going to be lasting long. Winds are going to start to switch around, and as our west-northwest winds become more southerly, that should help us to warm up. In the meantime, it is still pretty darn cold out there with our partly cloudy skies. We are in the 20s, but even the lightest of breezes will make it feel colder, and it feels like it's in the teens throughout much of northern Ohio. Here's a look at your National Design-Mar hour-by-hour forecast. We'll go variably cloudy for the night tonight. Some areas, especially farther south and west, will be clear. That may allow your temperatures as we get into the early morning to even dip toward the 20-degree mark before starting to rebound. We'll begin the day tomorrow with partly cloudy skies, and as the day goes on, clouds will begin to thicken up. Once we hit into the afternoon, we may have a few passing shower chances. This is a storm system that's mostly going to impact areas to our north, but we can't completely rule out a random shower passing through as that storm system cruises by. Then once we get into the evening, we are going to start to pick up rain chances. Scattered showers, mostly rain, could have a little snow mix from time to time passing through, and this is just another little wave of energy that's working its way by. We're not expecting more widespread rain until we get into the afternoon and the evening on Christmas Eve. So do plan on having Christmas Eve church services. Probably going to be a little bit soggy out there, and we'll hold on to the periodic rain chances as we go through Christmas Day. But the temperatures are going to be pretty darn nice. Let me hit a button here. We'll magically go to our Union Home Mortgage forecast, and you can see how the mercury jumps into the low 50s for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We'll settle back into the 40s for Kwanzaa on Sunday, and then we'll hold in the 40s as we head through next week. Can't rule out rain chances here and there. It's a very active pattern that's going on, but Jay, at this point, it doesn't look like any major storm systems directing our way anytime soon.
53 on Christmas. I can't remember when that's happened. I really can't.
Yeah, we've had some warm ones. We've had the green Christmas and the brown Christmas. Yeah. Nothing will top last year in my book. We had 10 inches of snow on the ground. I felt like we were completely spoiled. It was perfection.
Yeah, it was beautiful. You'll never hear me say this, ever. This might be the only time I ever say it, but I sure wish it would snow. I miss it.
Oh, see it? This is the one time of the year that everybody is, okay, fine. We can allow snow this little bit.
All right. Bets, thank you. Christmas is Saturday, as we've been talking about, but there's still plenty of time to get the family out of the house and to go out and see some fun in different places in Northeast Ohio that still have holiday lights up. 3 News contributor Chris Webb shows us 2 great options that light up the night.
When you're around Christmas lights, it's hard to stay angry for long.
Oh my gosh, I feel like the smile on my face just instantly is so big as soon as I see them, and then hearing all the families and everyone running around exploring alongside you is so much fun.
There's something about holiday lights that helps to lift a heavy mood. This year, Haley Mills of the Cleveland Bucket List compiled a list of light displays all around Northeast Ohio. Could you tell us a little bit about where we are right now?
So we are at Pleasant Hills Church in Middleburg Heights, and they have an outdoor display, and all the lights are timed to music. And then they also have an indoor light exhibit, and they're going to be hosting a New Year's event on the 29th that you can go inside for free and hang out and watch the light show.
How valuable do you feel it is to have light shows in places that families can go to?
I think the light shows are an incredible way for families to get together at this time of year. Not only are there plenty outside, but there's some inside too, so it gives everyone, regardless of your level of comfortability, the ability to meet up with friends and family and experience the gorgeous lights.
Among the list of lighting displays is also Public Square. and this display is designed to light up downtown Cleveland.
Amongst a Cleveland winter, a little bit of bright light definitely brings some sunshine to the area, and it's also just so much fun to see everyone getting to enjoy the same thing. This light display is awesome because there's so much to walk through, so I love that it's great to explore, and it's also downtown Cleveland, which, you know, you need to get downtown and come out and explore the restaurants and just hang out, so you can make a whole afternoon or evening of coming to check out the lights, which I think makes these so fun. And also just being in the heart of Cleveland and seeing Tower City and the rest of the skyline is really neat.
And the variety provided here is a plus as well.
So in Public Square, they have an ice skating rink. It's an outdoor rink. And then they also do pictures with Santa and some other pop-ups throughout the rest of the winter, as well as just plenty of the nightlife downtown. So you're within walking distance from a ton of great restaurants and great places to go out.
Do you have a favorite part of this display?
Yes, I do have a favorite part of this display. So there is a tunnel behind us that you can walk through. It has a great view of Tower City, and it's also just a really cool and unique way to kind of be able to interact with the lights.
And these displays are just two of many that the bucket list is compiled. For those who tour the whole list, a colorful holiday season is most certainly in store.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Bets, we've talked about Christmas lights. They do. He's right. It's hard to stay mad for very long when you're around these beautiful lights. But again, I know you lived in Florida for a number of years. I lived in South Florida for 5 years. And it was so odd around this time of the year to see all the lights, but there was no snow. It didn't feel as festive. And without the snow element this year, it kind of feels like a Florida Christmas. It feels like there's one big element missing here.
Wait a minute. There was something so wrong about Christmas lights on palm trees. I'm just going to say
I know.
it, right? Okay,
it was
because
bizarre.
I'm an Ohio girl. And they would decorate those palm trees like it was, you know, a blue spruce. It was crazy.
I know.
But when I'm up here in northern Ohio and I look around and I think, you know, actually it was kind of cute the way that they did it. And they're trying to be, you know, very festive and whatnot. I think the snow kind of adds a little bit of extra glow to the lights, but, you know, the lights are there to get us through these long, dark nights, I think.
True.
So it's a little bit of a trade-off.
It does help, for sure. But I miss the reflective snow helping with all that light. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Oh, man. All right. Well, all month long, viewers have been sending us their light displays. And this one comes from Diane in Northfield. Look at these trees. They are lit beautifully and in all different colors. Now, Diane, I would absolutely love to know how you get them to the tippy top, because there are so many different ways people do it. Some people use a ladder and like a broom handle. Some people have fashioned very fancy, customized hooks to get the lights up there and around. I have to shout out the Galloway family across the street from me on Denise Drive in Copley, Ohio. When I was growing up, Mr. Galloway would decorate the big pine tree in the front yard, and I swear it was like 500 feet tall. It was huge, and he managed to get the lights to the top every single year. So it really does make a difference when you do these huge trees. Kids will remember it. I am old, and I remember that vividly. We would love for you to send us your Christmas light displays using the Near Me feature on the WKYC app.
That's in my yard. I have lights on 13 pine trees. The secret, a 12-foot ladder and 2 hockey sticks duct taped together. Little hook on the end.
Gosh.
It works beautifully.
And we didn't even get any video of this? Next year.
Next
Tracy,
year for
help me out,
sure,
girlfriend.
I promise.
Come on. We need the video of this happening.
It's a sight to see. Next on What's New, having trouble getting into the holiday spirit? 3 News viewers are able to help. They share which movies put them into a jolly mood. Then everyone wants our Monica Robbins feeling better, even some rescue pups. We have the message of this adorable animal to our Monica Robbins. It's our Show Us Something Good coming up.
Hi, everybody. I'm Betsy Kling, and you know, Northeast Ohio is one of those places where you can walk around and you always have something in common with somebody, and that includes the holidays. We all like to walk around and look at the lights, or we all like to share a smile, or even just kind of a laugh as watching people try and navigate this hectic time of the year. So take a few minutes to just enjoy those smiles and the camaraderie, because right here in Northeast Ohio, there's really no place else we'd rather be.
Hey, Al. What's clicking in Cleveland is what people are watching for their holiday movies and also a petition to legalize marijuana in Ohio. Okay.
It's time now to see what's clicking in Cleveland. For that, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hi there, Stephanie. Happy Wednesday to you.
Hi, Betsy. Happy Wednesday to you. And you know, there are a lot of different ways to make something into a new law, and petitions are a part of that process. And there's a new petition that was just submitted by a group that is asking lawmakers to vote on legalizing adult use of marijuana in our state. It's from the Coalition to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol. They sent 200,000 signatures on the issue to the Ohio Secretary of State. 133,000 of those signatures need to be valid and come from 44 counties to get this issue in front of our House and Senate. We will keep you posted on what happens with these developments. Now, as the year comes to a close, we have our best of 2021 lists coming to you on WKYC.com, and today we're taking a look at our most read stories from the year. It should come as no surprise that 5 of them, of the top 10, are COVID related. The number 1 story is the launch of the Vax-A-Million lottery. Singer Nightbird accounted for 2 of the other 5 for her short run on America's Got Talent and a later update on her health during her cancer treatments. Also, what new laws took effect in 2021, the Wicked Twister closing at Cedar Point, and that Muni lot brawl from the Browns season home opener. All I have to say about that is go Browns. And if you are looking for some holiday cheer, our What's New viewers are sharing their favorite holiday movies, which our producer Mo asked them about on our What's New Facebook page. You will love the classics, by the way. White Christmas with Bing Crosby and Rosemary Clooney is a top pick. Other top choices are It's a Wonderful Life, also the original Miracle on 34th Street, the original, mind you, and of course A Christmas Story, filmed partly here in Tremont, and honorable mention, Betsy goes to 2 of my favorites, Love Actually and The Holiday. And of course, you know, somebody had to mention Die Hard in our What's New Facebook family group. Also, really quick, I want to give a shout out. I want to thank everybody for being my hype people today, trying out a new hairdo, and you guys made me feel really good about it. So thank you on our What's New page. You guys are the best. Really appreciate it. Betsy, do you have a go-to holiday movie?
I'm a I love the holiday. That is so fun. White Christmas, of course, is amazing. And I also love Meet Me in St. Louis. I know it's not necessarily a Christmas movie. It's more of like every holiday is lumped into it. But you just can't go wrong with Judy Garland in a movie. She's just amazing, certainly. And the hair.
If Die Hard
amazing.
counts, then that one does. Thank you very much.
I am totally down with that. All right. Thanks so much, Steph. Jay?
All right. Still to come on What's New, a Get Well message from a furry friend to our favorite medical reporter. You don't want to miss it. It's our Show Us Something Good, and it's next.
Hey Al, how are you? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Good evening. I'm Lena Lai, and I'm Lena Lai. Begin tonight with.
I'm ready to go. I'm like, you can go to Lakewood. Hey, Al, how are you? All right, so don't pull out your wallet or your phone just yet, all right?
Hello. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2, 3.
Fix my hair. Hi, 1, 2, 3. I didn't have time to fix my hair. I was too busy editing. Today's show.
We wrap it up with our Show Us Something Good. Comes from our friends at the Cleveland Animal Protective League. One of their shelter dogs there has a get well card for our very own Monica Robbins. It says, "Get your wag back soon." Monica wrote back saying she's wiggling and she's working on that wag. Monica, we miss you and we hope to see you very soon. And that's it. We're out of time, but we're back tomorrow at 5. Betsy, I'll see you then.
Yeah, I'm actually off for the next 2 days. I'll be seeing everybody Christmas night with my junior meteorologist. We'll have your forecast on Christmas night, of course. And Jay, Merry Christmas to you. We got each other hot chocolate. That's what we just figured out.
We did.
That's kind of a little inside joke, fun stuff. All right, now it's time to say what matters most with Russ and Lena. Starts right now.
Now at 6, safe travels.
We are back up to 120 plus flights.
Tens of millions of Americans are flying this week. How the Omicron variant is affecting security lines and flight times. Also, back in action. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski returns after testing positive for COVID, the latest as the team gets set for Saturday's big game. Testing troubles. No COVID test to be found ahead of the holiday. What a local doctor recommends you do if you can't test before your Christmas gathering. And Ohio's sports betting bill is signed by the governor, when you'll be able to place your bets.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
And good evening. Thanks for being with us tonight. I'm Russ Mitchell.
And I'm Lena Lai. We begin tonight with a new record high of daily new cases of COVID in Ohio.
The number, 12,864 cases over the past 24 hours. Again, that's the state's largest daily number since the pandemic began. For perspective, the state's 3-week average is just over 8,600.
And the case spike comes as millions of Americans are expected to travel on the roads and in the air tomorrow through January 2nd for the holidays, all while our hospitals are stretched to their limits with COVID patients. Emma Henderson explains what you need to know to prepare if you're traveling this week.
30 million people are expected to fly from now to the new year, while COVID positivity takes to new heights right here in Cuyahoga County.
We are seeing very long wait lines at our TSA counters, our security checkpoints, and our ticketing counters. So people are ready to travel.
Dr. Cameron recommends a popular 2020 technique to reduce risk. Bring back bubbles. Stick with the same group of people and minimize contact with others. This is way more effective if your group is vaccinated and ideally boosted as well. Going back to the basics will also go a long way.
Masks are still effective. However, we have to make sure that everybody is wearing them. Masks have to stay on. They have to be fit well because Omicron in particular is so very transmittable.
Dr. Cameron says you should test into your bubble of safe contacts when you arrive at your destination. Make sure you're testing negative before exposing yourself to others, and they do the same. And be prepared to lengthen your stay if you do get sick. Know what your plan is to quarantine away from home and know what the healthcare options are where you're going.
If you do test positive at a different country or another place, you have to self-quarantine. So it's a whole different dynamic that comes into play. You know, where are you going to self-quarantine and for how long?
And now more than any year in the past, we're going to have to be extra patient when it comes to air travel because just like us, flight crews can also catch the Omicron variant, meaning there's a good chance that flights are going to be canceled and they're going to have to be dealing with staff shortages as we are all trying to travel at the same time.
All right,
Lena?
we will be expecting that. Thanks so much, Emma.
Now to COVID and the Cleveland Browns, and we've got some good news and some bad news as the team gets set for Saturday's showdown with the Packers. The good news, Coach Kevin Stefanski is back. Nick Camino joins us now with both sides of the story tonight. Hi, Nick.
Good evening, Russ. Yeah, the bad news, I'm still thinking about that game we watched together on Monday in the newsroom right now. Yeah, a little bit of good news, a little bit of bad news today. As you mentioned, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski back out on the practice field today. That's great. He had to miss Monday's game against the Raiders because he was on the COVID list. But he returns today, and it'll just be great to have him back on the sidelines. You never want to be without your head coach, obviously. Now, there's a couple of different things that happened today for the Browns. And again, we'll cover this during sports too. But Browns tight end Austin Hooper is also back, as well as Jacob Phillips. But as of this sportscast, and again, things can change, but Baker Mayfield has not returned. His backup, Case Keenum, has not returned. On top of that, Jarvis Landry, those guys not officially back yet. So to me, at least today, that's a little bit disconcerting. We'll see. Hopefully they can rejoin them before Saturday's game against the Packers. We also got word today that cornerback Greg Newsome has been added to the COVID-19 list. So this is always fluid. This is always changing. And oh yeah, by the way, the team with the best record in the NFL awaits at Lambeau Field on Christmas Day.
Is facing a really good Packers team. I mean, you know, they have star players. They're very well coached. So we have our work cut out for us. Who's available to us? All those type of things. We'll just deal with it day by day.
Well, and that's the tough thing, and that's what we've learned. On top of the Packers that you have coming up, that are 11-3, that are still playing for the top record in the NFC, you're going into a tough environment at Lambeau Field. On top of all of that, you're dealing with this COVID situation, as we know. Russ?
All right, Nick, we'll see you later in sports. Thanks a lot.
Today, an urgent plea from hospital leaders in Northeast Ohio about the surging wave of new COVID cases. They're overwhelmed hospitals and healthcare workers being pushed to the limit. A powerful new plea from Northeast Ohio hospitals. The only sounds, a heart monitor and the whirring of a ventilator keeping a COVID patient alive.
This is a very serious situation.
This is worse than it was a year ago.
State and local health officials describing a grim picture in Northeast Ohio hospitals. In the hospital region that includes Cleveland, 1 in 3 patients is COVID positive. In the region, including Akron-Canton, half of the patients in the ICU are there because of COVID.
About 90% of the patients that are admitted to the hospital are unvaccinated. And what we're seeing in the ICU, less than 2% of those patients in the ICU are vaccinated.
More than 1,000 Ohio National Guard members have fanned out across the state, assisting at Cleveland's mass testing site and giving hospital workers much-needed help at Akron General, Summa Akron City, and Mercy Hospital in Stark County.
Both their military skills and their civilian skills is what really gives us the ability to respond in the rapid fashion that we have.
It's a surge that doctors say is preventable.
With literally last regrets that they didn't get vaccinated, our doctors and our nurses in the intensive care units and in our COVID units, they hear that every single day.
Amid the sounds of illness and dying. And as pediatric units are also seeing a surge of COVID patients, hospital presidents also had a pointed message to school districts that are planning to make masks optional after winter break. They warn that those schools are risking sending kids back to remote learning.
Getting a COVID test remains a challenge as we head into the heart of the holidays. At-home rapid tests went from in stock to impossible to find this week. Sarah Shookman tried to track some down and spoke with doctors about other options.
Slightly softer than a needle, but just as hard to find in a haystack.
At this time, we are completely out of COVID tests and do not know when we will receive more.
It was the first thing we heard on answering services and at the top of websites. The free rapid tests, once available, are wiped out at libraries and other community sites. Buying one for 20-some bucks is also a struggle. Walgreens told us it won't have stock locally until January, which is when Amazon's tests are shipping. Some CVS locations appeared to have tests in stock online, but at least one of those we visited had this on the door. We did buy a test at the Meijer in Avon, where the website lists them as out of stock.
So I know there's a lot of people that need to be tested, a lot of people that have COVID, and there's not enough capacity to do all the testing.
People are using the word avalanche, tsunami, and that's really what it feels like. I could do thousands of tests a day at neighborhood family practice, but I just can't. And so we really need people to use common sense, practical tools to keep them safe.
Cleveland Clinic is noting more positives than at any point in the pandemic. Now 40% of all tests. If, despite your efforts, you can't find a test?
It's hard. If you have symptoms and you can't find testing, then the best thing I would say is to assume that you have COVID until proven otherwise.
So if you're saying to me, it's just a cold, I swear, don't believe them, and you don't want their cold either.
If everyone feels well,
think about your most vulnerable family member that you're going to see. How can you protect them?
Vaccines are the first line of defense, then add other layers.
There's no harm that's going to come from wearing a mask. If anything, it's going to help.
We have to kind of go back to the basics, and we have to distance, we have to mask, we have to think about being outside for social gatherings. But we hear that it's coming. We hear the help is coming.
Well, that help and additional testing could be weeks away, though. So if you are determined to find a rapid test now and you don't have one in hand already, the best advice is to check online, to call, and maybe to check in store anyway. That's how we found this one, even though it said out of stock online. And we know the restocks are coming, Russ, but they just cannot keep up. In fact, one CVS location told our colleague they got 600 tests in yesterday, limited to 2 per person, and they were gone in 8 hours.
Wow. So be patient and persistent, it sounds like.
That's it.
All right, Sarah, thank you.
New information out of South Africa tonight, where the Omicron variant originated, showing a noticeable drop in new cases. Medical experts say this may show that the surge there has passed its peak. Now, for reference, last Thursday, 27,000 new cases were reported in South Africa, compared to about 15,000 reported yesterday.
CDC Director Rochelle Walensky today once again urged Americans not to panic, but added the Biden administration expects case numbers to rise.
I do want to remind people that we are in a very different place than we were a year ago. We have vaccines, we have boosters, and we have all of the science that demonstrates that prevention interventions like masking in indoor settings work to mitigate the spread of this virus.
A new NBC News tally has confirmed that all 50 states and Washington, D.C. have reported at least one case of the Omicron variant.
Well, it is official. Sports betting is coming to the Buckeye State. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine signed House Bill 29 today, legalizing the activity. Mark Namath joins us now with more and why you won't be able to place your bets here anytime soon. Hi, Mark.
Hi, good evening, Lena. That's right. Don't pull out your wallet or phone just yet. The governor's approval kicks off the rulemaking process that will guide how we gamble. That's expected to take months and possibly up to a year. But everyone is betting Ohio will be betting on sports in the late fall, at least before January 2023. And when ready, we'll be able to place bets on the Browns, the Cavs, and other professional sports teams.